word?
What word, sir?
The word, what's the word?
Action?
Action, action!
What the world needs now is a lasting peace, and they've got it. Mae West.
How do you like it in London, Marlowe?
Oh, I like it anywhere.
In the uninhibited, unabashed, unforgettable, overexposed sextet.
That dress is so fantastic that even I would wear it. In fact, I have.
Mae West is Marlo Manners. She's the most successful film star in history.
I'm the girl that works at Paramount all day and Fox all night.
But she won't be satisfied until she's loved by all mankind, one man at a time.
Well, wall-to-wall men.
Meanwhile, negotiations break down in a secret conference.
Yet.
And the world is on the brink of disaster. There's only one hope left.
Remember, she's doing this for Uncle Sam.
The world's leading expert in international relations.
So I don't know much about politics, but I do know a good party man when I see one.
Because no one handles heads of state like Marlo.
Senyorchka, darling.
Oh, sexy Alexi.
That's me. Come in, my dear.
Even on her wedding night with Timothy Dalton.
Stiff upper lip, you know?
You gotta start somewhere.
George Hamilton.
Give me the number to Miss Manners, sweet.
I'm afraid we're not allowed to give that information out. If I can.
Tony Curtis.
You remember that vulgar night we spent on the river?
What?
I mean that night we spent on the river Volga.
Dom DeLuise.
Hello. Are you trying to get rid of me? Oh, no.
Ringo Starr.
Husband number 6, meet husband number 4.
A pleasure.
Alice Cooper. Keith Moon.
Aztec go.
Walter Pidgeon. Rona Barrett. George Rapp.
I haven't seen you in 2 years. What have you been doing?
2 years.
Tut, tut, tut!
And the U.S. athletic team.
What are you trying to do? Give me competition?
All right.
Oh, stop. Oh, stop. Oh, well, go ahead, honey.
Immortal comedy will live forever.
Oh! It's later than I thought!
You won't.
By the time she gets out of bed, there may be a new administration.
See Mae West in the all-star, all-new, all-outrageous
I'm sticking up the world. Stick 'em up, world.
Sextette.
And remember, parental guidance is suggested.
Sextette is exactly the kind of movie that I do this podcast about. For years, I read about it in the Medved's Turkey Awards books, and since then, I pretty much decided that the Medveds have no idea what fun is. Can Sextette be as bad as people say? Well, I have no idea. I'm a bad person to ask about bad taste, but it's the kind of movie that took me 6 years to watch, yet I finished it in one morning, if that makes any sense. In a time when women were seen and rarely heard, Mae West was an outspoken sex icon, a brazen beauty who hid her sexual openness within comedy. Indeed, she was the woman who said, "I believe in censorship," and made a fortune out of it. In 1926, West had her first starring role on Broadway in a play called Sex. It was also a play that she wrote, produced, and directed. That would be rare today. Imagine how much rarer it was 100 years ago. West became a movie star, but was always followed by controversy. However, her films contained no nudity, swearing, or violence, but in a world where women were always in second place, she was a frightening aberration, a confident woman unafraid to use sex appeal to get what she wanted. Imagine this. While speaking to ventriloquist dummy Charlie McCarthy, she referred to him as all wood and a yard long. She was nearly banned from radio so thoroughly that her name wasn't even allowed to be spoken, while Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy were unpunished. West went to Vegas where she could be herself. Her show at the Sands was famous for its muscle men who carried her around. One of them was Mickey Hargitay, who married another dangerous blonde, Jane Mansfield. She also had a recording career, which is absolutely astounding, as she recorded songs about psychic Criswell and performed a cover of The Doors' Light My Fire. The counterculture discovered her in the 70s, perhaps because of her appearance in Myra Breckinridge, her early crusades against censorship, and her books, like her autobiography Goodness Had Nothing to Do with It, and Sex, Health, and ESP. West, while not a traditional women's lib believer, was an early believer in women's rights, and she dated across the color line before that was even remotely accepted. One boyfriend, boxing champion William Gorilla Jones, was barred from her apartment complex because he was black. She bought the building and erased that ban. She was also incredibly smart about her money, producing her own work, investing her money in Van Nuys before Hollywood grew into the sprawl that it is today. In 1978, she started working on her final film, Sextette, and despite hearing and vision loss, her spirit carried it through. She was also dealing with production woes and near daily changes in the script, necessitating that director Ken Hughes, who also did Night School, read her lines via an earpiece. Now, my devotion to Mae West does not mean that this is a great movie, but it's perhaps better because it's an interesting one. Screen legend Marlowe Manners is Mae West. She's in England, where she's just married the much younger Sir Michael Barrington, who's Timothy Dalton. But before they can consummate their marriage, all manner of hijinks ensue, mostly because of her manager, played by Dom DeLuise. To complicate matters, the leaders of the free world have gathered in this very same hotel to discuss the future of the world. And soon all of Marlowe's ex-husbands, like diplomat Alexei Andreev Karanesky, Tony Curtis, director Laszlo Karanelli, Ringo Starr, gangster Vance Norton, George Hamilton, who I will tell you has never been in a good movie, yet I love him, and the U.S. Olympic team all show up to make love to her. The movie is the 70s all over. Celebrities are the kings and queens of the world, even minor ones like Gil Stratton, Rona Barrett, and Regis Philbin years before he teamed with Kathy Lee. And holy cow, George Raft is in this as himself, and yes, he is a gangster, as you expect. The movie is packed with people who you would not expect to be in a movie with Mae West. Those folks include Alice Cooper, who claims that Mae West propositioned him numerous times a day, Keith Voon, Van McCoy, who wrote The Hustle, Joanne Fairchild, the jumper from The Monkey's Head, Rick Drazen, who created the Gold's Gym logo, weightlifter Danny Grable, Roger Collard, who is Conan the Librarian from UHF, and Walter Pidgeon. The soundtrack for this movie has sadly never been released. However, the song Happy Birthday 21, which is astonishingly in bad taste today, was on West's 1972 album Great Balls of Fire. It is a paean to a boy finally turning 21 that she can bed. Go figure, the film's producers could not find a major studio to distribute this film. They held 2 sneak previews, including one on the Paramount Pictures lot and a second at the Fox Bruin Theater, where West received a standing ovation. Young folks flocked to its premiere at the Cinerama Dome, but the film was sadly a major flop elsewhere in the country, supposedly grossing only $50,000 on an $8 million budget. Critics were unkind as well. Rex Reed, who, come on, he was in Myra Breckinridge. I hate Rex Reed. He said the film was a monument of ghoulish camp and that West looks like something they found in the basement of a pyramid. Whatever. Sextette's kind of a dream movie for me. It's a movie that by no means should have ever been made, but yeah, here it is. You can find it on most streaming services. It's waiting for you to watch it, to be astounded by it, to be assaulted by it, and finally to proclaim that perhaps you survived it. Mae West was a legend. This film, she's obviously very old in her 80s. My favorite Mae West urban legend is that her body temperature was higher than most human beings. This led to making love to her feeling more pleasurable because her body was super warm. Also, there was another urban legend that she was a hermaphrodite. I do not believe that's true, but if it was, how awesome that Mae West did so much. We still talk about her today, more than 100 years after her career began. Anyways, you can find out more about movies on BNS About Movies. You can reach out to me at bnsaboutmovies@gmail.com. You can donate on our Ko-fi, which is on the site. And you can just keep watching more movies. Have a great day.